Very welcome back. Our next guest graced our airways for 27 years, giving the Irish public a space to air their stories, whether sad, bad or just mad.
They were mad. Indeed, they were many times. 7 months after hanging up the mic, he joins us now to chat about life in retirement. It's broadcasting legend Joe Duffy. Good to see you.
Disgrace the airwaves, you should have said.
Well, I didn't like to do that now, did I?
Yeah, 7 months. And I'm now, as you know, driving a taxi.
Well, you needed another job.
Well, my older brother, James, has been taxiing for years. He's great. He loves it. And the main reason, as you know, I was driving the taxi was to have chats with people in the back about their hearing. Because that's what I was doing for the few decades, 4 decades nearly in RT. I was listening. And to my shame, I discovered... someone said to me, when's the last time you had a hearing test? Like, given that you're... And I said, God, years ago. He said, when's the last time you had an NCT? Oh, I said, about 6 months ago. And when the letter came in, I ran around. You go into overdrive, pardon the pun, when you get your NCT letter, you get the dog hair hoovered off the seat and everything. And he said, well, like, when is the last time you had not a car test, change the letter C to the letter E, and you had an ear test. And then Specsavers, as you know, are doing free hearing checks, which are brilliant. So I did a free hearing check. It takes 40 minutes. I'm saying to people, a lot of people don't know what's involved. There's no paperwork. You're not signing anything. You're not ticking any boxes. You're sitting there. They put a pair of headphones on you. It takes 40 minutes. It's really scientific. And one of the women in the taxi, there's 3 of them in the back. They're hilarious. Mother, daughter, and their best friend. And again, Specsavers, as you probably know, did a survey, and the number of people who have to double check with their partner or whatever is absolutely amazing. But one of the women said the 2 of us were best friends since we were 4, and 2 of us nearly fell out because she's so Sylvia wasn't it? Sylvia said. Jesus, Mary, pardon my language. And she said, "You're looking very old." Right? And she said, "What?" I said, "You're looking at that word, what?" What? I said, "You look at..." I said, and the daughter was there. I said, "That's not a very nice thing to say to me and your friends since we're..." She said, "Why? You are cold, aren't you?" She said, "You're looking very cold." So it can create problems.
I need to ask you, which of your ears is worse? Because anyone who's worked in radio, and I used to do Donkeys years ago, and like even here, we have an earpiece in.
Okay.
The cans will always, with the best will in the world, you've got that ramped up, and it does cause, you know yourself, Martin.
And the other thing about doing a hearing check, sorry Elaine, we're going to cry. The other thing about doing a hearing check is, like one woman said to me in the taxi, my son said to me, "You should go for a hearing check." And she got annoyed. Yeah. What do you mean? Sorry, I shouldn't mean the microphone. And I said, you know what you should have said to him? I'll go for a hearing check if you come with me. You're 33, as she told me. You've been wearing headphones since you were 6. Yeah. You know those big headphones? Yeah. And he said, there's nothing wrong with my hearing. He said, when you go for a hearing check, you get a readout, a scientific readout, and it goes on file. And you go, nothing wrong, please God. And you go back a year later, 2 years later, and you get a hearing check, and you have a baseline. You have a baseline, which is really important and really informative.
Yeah, like your eyes, your ears, any other bit of you that you need to get seen from time to time.
But the thing is, there's a stigma.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Whatever about getting your eyes tested, there isn't a stigma about that, but there is when if somebody suggests.
And remember, a hearing device is the exact same, regarded the exact same by everybody, travel insurance, medics, as a pair of glasses. It's a
Speaking of hearing now, people are missing your dulcet tones off the airwaves now.
Really
they are, to be fair, they are.
Yeah.
Joe, you must be getting a lot of that now as you're travelling around the country now.
Yeah,
do you miss it?
You know what I don't miss, Elaine, is the daily routine that you had to be. It was Liveline, so you were in studio for 27 years. I did it. I seldom got out. We used to do Funny Friday, which I absolutely, totally loved, because we went around the country and it was the old style vaudevillian comedy. And I used to love that, but I didn't get out much. So I love being not waking up, not knowing that I've nothing I can plan my own day.
Would you do one day a week or something just to go back and enjoy it? Or, because once you're bit by the broadcasting bug, it doesn't go away.
I like watch, listen. non-stop radio listener. And what I've been listening to a lot, actually, I've been able to listen on the internet to our local stations all around the country. And the morning offering, Martin, the morning offering, seriously, on our local stations is absolutely brilliant. The level of debate, discussion is just fantastic. So I've been listening more.
Monitoring or listening?
Monitoring. You know the phrase I use. I monitor, I flick. Pat Kenny's last day on the Daily Show. That was the first programme I ever produced when I started in RT nearly 40 years ago.
Wow.
I made him a household name.
Look what you did. Look what you did for Gay Byrne.
Gay Byrne.
Well, he'd have been lost without you.
He wasn't even a household name in his own house when I started going around the country for it.
Did you love going around the country and doing bits and pieces like that as a roving reporter?
I did 10 years, Elaine, and it's
look at him.
Stancy.
Oh, my Lord. The beard.
It's Stancy. Yeah, because then I was doing Liveline for the 27, 28 years. And when someone would ring from Askeaton, you'd have a memory of it. You'd have a memory of it. And I've a good old, I think I've a good old memory, Peter, haven't I?
Yes, you do, of course. You do, yeah.
So I just loved going. That stood to me so much.
But I think it's very important as well to take the pulse of the country as well. You need to be out and about, because I miss roving around because there's donkeys years now since I do. But our Derek is out every single morning meeting everybody. And you meet such fantastic characters.
Fantastic people. Now I've met I've been around and about a bit, and then I've got it about 5 times from different people, and they're all people are just lovely. One was, did you used to be Joe Duffy? As if I was a character in Fair City or something. And I said, I still am. And then people come up to you, Joe, I was on your programme once. Do you remember me?
Oh, come on.
And I say, I couldn't see you.
Yeah.
Now, in one sense, then they tell me what to remember. But in one sense, that is the power and the intimacy of radio.
Yeah.
I'm there with a pair of headphones on, too strong betimes, pair of headphones on, and whoever's talking to you, they're on the phone, they're invariably on their own. The intimacy is incredible. That's why I love radio. Love radio.
Radio,
and we're a great radio country. You know?
We are hugely popular.
Absolutely. Look at the amount of stations we have and how good they all are. But you're from Ballyfermot, working class background. And there's one thing that working class mothers especially can do is keep your 2 feet on the ground if you're starting to get notions.
Mabel, it's her anniversary now in a few weeks. It was great. She died at 94. She died 2 days before the Rush. That's how I always say it to be. She died 2 days before the Russians invaded Ukraine, and she loved current affairs. But 2 things she used to say to me. One, you're never as good as the reviews. You're never, or what people say about you. You're never as good as you say you are, or you're never as bad as they say you are. So keep yourself grounded. And then the other thing, some woman was away and she met her down the shops in Ballier, down in Ballyfermot, and she said, Mabel, I heard you're Joseph. My brother never called me Joe, by the way.
Really?
I didn't allow people knowledge. Wow. My name is Joseph.
Joseph?
Yeah, your Joseph is working in RTE now. What's he doing? Mabe says he answers the phones. Which is true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to love the Irish mammy for keeping you in your box.
No notions.
Don't go out dressed like that, you'll get your end. And this stuff from the mammy. And I remember we had our weekly bath with the Lifebuoy soap. You're too young.
Oh, God. I remember it. The big yellow bar.
It was really strong smell. And we used to sit down on our couch in the living room and we used to watch the radio. We'd no telly.
Yeah.
We used to watch the radio. And Mabel had the radio. It was a beautiful... I still have it, actually. Yeah. I'll put it on Dundee later, OK? It's the highest bid. I had it up on the shelf, pilot radio, and she used to go into Frawley's in Thomas Street. Remember Frawley's? Yeah. And she'd buy this red braiding, right? And she'd tack it on to the... So there was a decoration around the radio, and she'd take it down every Monday and wash it. And put it back up again. And we'd sit there, say, on a Saturday night, and we'd listen to a programme called Dear Sir or Madam. Okay? Right. And the theme tune, Elaine, was that American piece of music. It's actually called The Typewriter. And there's a manual typewriter in the orchestra when they were... and we used to sit and look. And Dear Sir or Madam was basically the first type of Liveline. except people wrote in and he answered it. He that's all they did was read out the letters, but it was fantastic.
What was the name of that radio drama that was on RT years ago?
Oh, come on, are you talking about Harbour Hotel or are you talking about the Kennedys of Castle Ross?
Yeah.
I think it's Harbour Hotel.
Yeah.
Was it?
Kennedys of Castle Ross came first.
Yeah. You know who loved, when it used to be on 1:45 or maybe 1 to 1:50, and the Kennedys of Castle Ross, then Harbour Hotel, written by the great Lee Dunn. Yeah. God rest him, and Hugh Leonard before that. There's some great people on. But, I used to love the radio soaps, because when they were going, a few of them contacted me, prisoners.
Wow.
They'd go back into their cell
to
eat their lunch or whatever, and they'd all follow Harbour Hotel and the Kennedys of Castle Ross. But what I do miss, I have a few recordings I got. We had a radio drama department. Incredible actors. And they used to put out a play every Sunday night.
That's right.
Be John B. Keane, Sean O'Casey, The Plough and the Stars. The standard was just stunning. Stunning.
You got a few calls from the Joy over the years, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
we got a call from where was it? God, John Daly guy. And I want to mention his name because he subsequently was killed, and I wrote to his family. Which was terrible. But he phoned in one day. We had the great Paul Williams on the programme, and a few other people phoned in. They didn't like Paul, yourself, who were involved in bits and pieces. But they all had done their time, the usual. And this chap phoned in from Portlaoise prison. And it was at the time when Michael McDowell, who was a great minister for justice, but he'd been told there's no mobile phones in prisons. Minister. And next fella, I said, where are you ringing from, John? He said, I'm ringing from the prison. And he says to me, he's from his cell. He says, hang on, I'll move over to the other side of the cell. There's better reception. Right? So he moves over, and he gets into a tiff, into a tussle with Paul Williams. Something Paul had written about. Now, this chap is in prison. The poor chap. And next you hear, it was the prison officers running down the corridor. He says, I got to go. Anyway. And then I did programmes from prisons, and one of the most memorable I did was I got a group of prisoners together. We were in prison, and I went up and met them a good few times. What are you in for? And one of them was in for, I'd say, a jump over in the counter, and another was in for burglary. So I put out a call to the listeners through the Gay Byrne show. Have you been burgled? Have you been a victim? Would you be interested in coming with me into Mountjoy? Now, you wouldn't be meeting the Bella. It was incredible. It was incredible that the young fellas, invariably young fellas, didn't get the full impact of the effect it had on people. Like, one fella said, do you pick your house for burgling? He said, no, it's at random. And everyone thinks they've been watching me for weeks or whatever. No. But anyway, get your hearing checked. Get your hearing. No, seriously, it's free.
Absolutely important.
Just do it.
Specsavers.ie, is it?
I went to any Specsavers shop.
Get it sorted.
I was in Specsavers the other day.
Joe, we're running out of time.
You know how I bumped
We're
into
getting killed
everybody.
by the director.